ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, The Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and welcome to the Thursday Breakfast Bankroll edition with good friend and colleague, Mr. Matthew George. Go follow him at MG28_sports on Twitter. Catch him on Sports Grid, Sirius XM. This is his spot every Thursday, 10 a.m., 10:15 a.m., to talk some sports, to talk some Yankees, to talk. He's live at the Mecca in New York City, so we'll be talking a lot of New York sports there. Hopefully the Yankees and Red Sox have a great battle this year as they are in spring training as we get ready for the WBC. Hold on, clank, clankety clank, clank, clank. St. John's just missed again as they got taken to the woodshed at the Mecca last night. They lost by 32 or something, as they missed their last 24 straight shots. Last time they scored was 17:28 left in the second half. An absolute clinic. That's the UConn team that I know. And I tell you, the rest of the college landscape, if that's the team that's playing in March, look out. First and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play. Download that app. It is free. Travis, Zach, Guy, myself, Matthew Chaprell, Carol Bucks, Amber Hawley, Jacob, Drew. The list is endless. Come on down. Download the app. Head on over to their website and take a look at the marketplace, the great articles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The Oscars are coming. There's so much to talk about, the best in the business. So please follow them as well on Twitter at WagerWire. So without further ado, let's bring them in. Oh, Duck! St. John's missed again. Mr. Matthew George. What's up, Matt?
Good morning, Jeff. How we're doing?
You know, I sat down last night all excited, and St. John's is a tough team. Rick Pitino going into the game 5-1 against Hurley. Kind of took it to UConn, I think it was about 10, 12 days ago at Madison Square Garden, which is funny because UConn, that's their second home. But it was about 70-30 when it came to the fans. So the Johnnies really came out and put a whooping on UConn. UConn struggled against Creighton, not playing well. Their defense has been horrific. The last home game at the Excel Center in Hartford for a few of the seniors, Reed and Caravan, and start to finish, obviously Coach Hurley had them ready. Again, 24 straight misses for St. John's to end the game. Game was just a rout. Now, again, we're all holding our breath for the Big East tournament in round number 3, but what did you see or did you not see, or what would you like to talk about the Johnnies and their performance last night?
if you're holding Zubi Ejiofor to only 1 point at halftime, yeah, you got something working here with UConn, and that's what they did last night, holding them to only 40 points total, and not to mention them blowing up by 32. So that Jeff mentioned. So, I mean, that's a team that you want to see out of UConn, out of one of the best teams in the country that's trying to compete for a title. So holding to one of their best players to only single digits throughout the entire game, and their star players not coming out again with St. John's, it really shows the fact that they need to step up their defense and offense including. But their defense was a major factor coming into this game and coming into conference play. So if they continue this run and continue in the way that they're playing basketball, I mean, again, like Jeff said, look out because UConn could be a sleeper in the come the tournament time. But right now, still need to see a little more on both ends of the floor. But it's a good omen, and it's a good sign going forward.
I think a lot of people forget. Now, listen, the Big East is down. I mean,
Mhm.
Creighton usually a lot better. Villanova has shown flashes. The Johnnies, of course. Seton Hall had the great start. But I need people to remember this. Okay, this is the start of the year and the non-conference that UConn played. They beat BYU. They lost at home to Arizona by 4 without Terrace Reed and without brain fart here, Mullins. Okay, so without two starters. They beat Illinois, they beat Kansas, they beat Florida, and they beat Texas. Okay, so pretty damn tough gauntlet that they played non-conference. And again, they lose to the Johnnies and they lost to Creighton on a brain fart night. But again, they're home Saturday against Seton Hall, and they end the following Saturday against Marquette. Uh,
Mhm.
I think they'll end 28-3. They're fighting for that last number one seed right now. I think these two last wins and get to the Big East Finals. I think that gets them a one seed. Thoughts there?
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing for St. John's is that just focus on finishing the rest of the season because the way they've been playing, especially in Big East play, has been very good. So their biggest Achilles heel is obviously, as we mentioned, UConn, but at the end of the day, this team is showing stuff at the right direction. It's just that now this team has to be fully ready in Rick Pitino's team and trying to find a way to mesh together. Forget what happened with UConn, and then just focus on these next two games because these are crucial. These are obviously crucial because they're sitting at 1 and 2, and also the fact that they're going to compete for a spot in the tournament, no matter what if they are ranked or not. Even if they win, obviously they have to win the biggest tournament, and solidify themselves to make to make themselves in the NCAA tournament. At the end of the day, they're still going to make it, but it's looking like it's teeter tottering. These next 2 weeks are very crucial. These next two games are very crucial, even though it is again Big East play. They're not as top. They're not top tier quad one teams that they're going to be facing. But at the end of the day, they definitely need to win in these next two games in order to solidify themselves. Aside from UConn is definitely just needs to keep that ramping up, and obviously their defensive route against St. John's definitely helped it, and now they continue that momentum going towards the end of the season.
Last Saturday was a amazing day of college football, college basketball. There's usually 130, 35, sometimes 150 games, but there was two headliners. And I'll start with Arizona traveling to Houston, and I said it all over my timeline. Arizona was getting 6 points, and I said, "In what damn world is Houston favored by 6?" There, and Arizona boxed the wire. Houston there. Then I'm not one of. I'm a big Kelvin Sampson fan. They were right there last year. They had the opportunity. I think they're good. They're not as good as I think the last couple of years. And I've seen this Arizona team. I still think they're the team to beat, and we'll get to the other two in a second. I just think their length, their athleticism, they can roll out the ball and beat you 50-49, Matthew, or they can say first one to 85 wins. And and again, they haven't been. I thought they haven't been to the Final Four in 24 years. I thought that was the tweet. And as I would say, Sean Elliott, Lute Olson are not walking through that door. So thoughts on last Saturday, the eye test, Arizona, Houston, thoughts on those two teams?
I mean, the game itself, it was a battle to the end, but at the end of the day, you understand. You can see how even without one of their star players in Pete, that this team can definitely still compete. But the biggest factor was Anthony Della Rosso, because the guy had 22 points off the bench. I don't think anybody saw that in their scoreboard, in their scorecard coming up to this game against Houston, because Houston, as we know, is one of the best defense is proposingly one of the best defenses in the college basketball, but that hasn't really been panning out for the past two games, including this one against Arizona. So the biggest thing for Houston is that their shooting struggles have just been a mess, especially these last two games. And this game against Arizona really shows it, that when they only showed 36% from the field and 31% from three. That's not a team that can compete, and especially when tournament time comes. So, especially when their star player, or their freshman, excuse me, in Kinston Fleming. I mean, he's a star in the team right now. And Kinston Fleming is shooting 6 of 17 from the field. So guys need to step up. Emmanuel Sharp is done pretty well, but he shot terribly, two of 11 from the floor. On the other side, as I mentioned, Anthony Della Rosso at 22 points off the bench, 8 of 14 from the field. That is very efficient from somebody who doesn't get a lot of playing time. And also on the other side, that where your star player in Braden Burries only had single digits. So this guy definitely stepped up and showed that he can compete with an offense, with a defense like Houston. At the end of the day, Arizona is sliding, hence why they are top. It's why they're a top four team, not at the top of the league, right now. But they're showing signs that they are coming back, and they are starting to identify themselves as a good team to actually compete in the NCAA tournament. This is going to be a wild one. Hence why they're called the Wildcats. They're going to be a wild one coming in towards the end of the season.
The headliner at 6 o'clock or 6:30 actually on Saturday, Duke, Michigan playing in Washington, D.C. It was kind of comical going in, again, on my timeline. Michigan opened up on -2.5, and they had just been boat racing everyone. And they had a stretch in December in a tournament where they put 4 straight teams, and they beat 3 of them by 30 and 1 by 40. And then I didn't want to say they dipped, but then they cranked it up again. And in the eyes of social media, of Twitter, all the so-called experts, the team to beat, this team's the best in the country. I grew up with the Fab Five in Michigan. I know what peak Michigan looks like. And listen, no disrespect to Michigan, Dusty May. His team is rock solid. They're 6-7 deep, and they are one of the best teams in the country. But when I saw Michigan only -2.5, the sirens were going off. The whole world was on Michigan. And I think some people expected a first one to 80, and it was more of a rock fight. It was like a heavyweight fight, jab, jab, uppercut, jab, jab, uppercut. But when the dust settled, it was Duke prevailing. Thoughts on that game?
Yeah, and a very, very dominant performance, I would say, from Duke, even though it was such a track meet between the two. So the biggest thing was their defense, and the defense held up. And not to mention that two out of the 5 players in the starting lineup had 2 blocks. So they have this mesh of your star player doing what he does in Cam Boozer with the double in 18 and 10. And not to mention the guy that could dish the ball. So this guy is basically just NBA ready. So trying to contain him is a pain in the neck, and that's what Michigan had to deal with, and they couldn't really contain him. So it's a biggest factor of them actually just trying to, Michigan was trying to hold on to a big time team in Duke, and it's not an easy task. Obviously, being the number one, well, and then being the number one team in the country, and now Duke now has that spot now, so which is interesting to say. So you're holding one of the best teams in the country to, only 24% from three. Now this is even worse with the stats again with Arizona and Houston. So their defense was definitely stifling, especially towards the second half when they were making it with, I believe they went on the 17-3, the 17-3 run in the second half. But I mean, my goodness, that game overall was a battle to the end. But I think that looking at it right now, 420 and plus 420 for Duke to win the national championship. I would take a flyer on that right now before the tournament starts, because this team, at least in my opinion, is what is the best team in the country, barring the fact that Cam Boozer could still continue this kind of play and action, because he's one of the best players in the country, and he's definitely NBA ready, and the guy can definitely stretch the floor whenever he wants to, and get you double doubles, even in triple doubles when he wants to. So look out, Duke is coming back. They haven't won a national championship in so long, even when Coach K was still there. But this is the time now, because John Shire has definitely, stepped up in his game, even with the transfer portal, even with guys going to the NBA after 1 year. This is the time now for Duke to make a run, and at plus 420, that's a good fly to take.
NBA injuries around the league. Sabonis, Hunter out for the season for the Kings. Dylan Brooks, broken hand. Celtics on the rise. Winners of 8 of 11, taken to the shed by the Nuggets last night. Reports of Jason Tatum, 5-on-5 scrimmages, post Achilles. Will he return? Will he not return? Spurs won 10 straight, first time since 2015, 2016. I said to anyone that wants to listen, next year you can get your futures. The East, the Pistons, the West, the Spurs, put them together. Next year's NBA Finals, Spurs and Pistons, back in those older days. First one to 85 won that game, by the way. But take us around the NBA, Matthew.
I actually want to just comment on that really quick, because Coach and I were doing the college basketball today podcast, like in between commercials, saying that they got to be careful. Well, they got to be careful of the way they're handling the team. Like, this is, or actually, when he actually mentioned this during the Pro Basketball Day podcast. Although Detroit is doing very well, and not to mention they won, like Jeff mentioned, they won last night against the defending champs in OKC. They got to be careful with the way they approach the game, because officiating is not as it was before, where they were like the bad boys of Detroit. Those days are over, and the way the officiating is right now, the guys are going to get fined, the guys are going to get tossed and ejected, all that kind of stuff. So they're playing very well, and they're playing very rugged. Especially Kate Cunningham is bringing one of the best guards in the country, best guards in the league. So the way that they're handling it now, keep the momentum going, but be careful of the officiating. Domantas Sabonis and DeAndre Hunter being out for the rest of the season, it's obvious that this team is basically tanking. I mean, no one wants to say that on the higher ups in the NBA, but that's basically what they're doing. The Kings want to solidify themselves into a top contender for the number one pick in the draft. It's going to be very interesting to see where they land, because their odds are somewhere in the mid-par section of like 8% to probably 10%. If they could get double digits, that'd be great. But they haven't really gotten that top 10, that top 3 spot in a long time. So we'll see how that goes. Dylan Brooks being out with a broken hand doesn't really help Phoenix, because they're a very surprising team with all the trades that they made, especially sending Jalen Green away. Um, with the even going back to when KD was there, they made that good run. They sent DeAndre Hunter out, and now this team is one of the more surprising teams in the West. Dylan Brooks was averaging around 22 points a game, and now has his hand injury. So this is really a big setback. But this could also be an opportunity for Grayson Allen to step up, because off the bench he's been getting 15 to 20 points off the bench. He's a really good shooter as well. He can attack the rim, and he's a high flyer as well. He could dunk the ball. So we'll see how that goes towards the rest of the season. And hopefully Dylan Brooks can come back. And I think that the Suns can be a surprising team in the Western Conference. Celtics on the rise. They did obviously lose last night against the Nuggets, but at the end of the day, this team is on the rise. Don't be surprised, like how Jeff said, that they first of all push Jason Tatum to come back for ready for the playoffs. And I mean, they're the second. Apparently, they are the second best team in the Eastern Conference right now, because the way that this team's playing even without him, I don't understand it, but I understand it as well. Peyton Pritchard's been lights out. He's been shooting the ball very well. This team is basically just doing what they did last year with shooting threes, but they're shooting it more effectively this season with the way everything is. They sent KCP and Drew Holiday out. It's seeming like everything is doing pretty well. And look out, because the Eastern Conference is definitely stacking up. So the 1, 2, 3 of the Pistons, Celtics, and the Knicks is definitely ramping up again, and we'll see how the rest of the season goes. Last thing, as Jeff mentioned, with the Spurs winning 10 straight, they haven't done that since 2015-2016 season. What a year it's been for the Spurs, and what a decade it's been for the Spurs, because no one really expected this coming out from 10 years ago to now. But when you have guys like Victor Wembanyama, when you have guys that can step up in major spots, Keldon Johnson, Dylan Harper, these guys, you can basically say that this team is the best team in the Western Conference, barring in mind that you're trying to play against the defending champs. They already won like 3 out of the 4 games of the season already against them, as we mentioned. So being straight up, the Spurs are going to be the best team in the Western Conference at the end of the day. Can they compete for a title? That's to be determined. But for right now, I think that's going to be. That's with the way they're playing right now, and the way that they are just offensively and defensively playing well together. Look out! It's the Western Conference at hand for the Spurs.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Again, a 3-dog fight back east and out west. Again, last man standing there. We'll be talking playoffs throughout with you once we get closer there, of course. A shout out to Profit Margin. Thank you for all the love and support there. You get 2 to 3 feet of snow in New York City. We get 2 to 3 feet of snow in Cape Cod. And now here we are talking baseball, spring training, Yankees, Red Sox. We'll get next week the WBC starting up there. Thoughts on what's going on in the medieval empire and the Yankees? And any thoughts? How many of the Yankees are playing in the WBC, if you know off the top of your head?
I just know sadly I just know Aaron Judge, so excuse me for not knowing too much about it. I know that at the end of the day, I think the WBC, it's gonna be a dogfight to the end with the. I feel like Japan has a very good chance. They were contention before, but now Shohei Ohtani is not playing this year. Do adding Aaron Judge to the WBC for the USA team does really help. And I think the pitching is going to definitely be the biggest factor. Although I think I heard that also Scuba's also playing only 1 game, so yeah, we'll see how that pitching goes. But at the end of the day, I don't think any team can beat the USA's team in terms of the pitching matchups. Yankees, I think the way that I think I saw earlier reports about, again, we say this every year with the guys with their health, and the same thing again with Giancarlo Stanton with the way his path swing is going on. Hoping that he plays. Hopefully, he plays at least 100 games. But I mean, with the way he's the way that towards the end of his career, I mean, I think he's towards the end of his career. I just don't see that going for him towards the end. I mean, we know we could do really well. When he came back, he was shooting. It was lights out. He was hitting the ball. He was hitting home runs. At the end of the day, I just don't think that he's really adds anything to the team aside from power. And you can't really putting him in the DH a lot because I mean, there's some spots that where Aaron Judge needs a rest. And Cody Bellinger needs rest, especially since we re-signed him. So we'll see how that goes towards the end, towards where the start of the season. And the other thing is that there's been also reports about Anthony Volpe not starting opening day, and they're gonna put the Caballero into the starting shortstop position. Will that stay? Possibly no, because not to mention that he's been loved by the front office of Brian Cashman and also the general manager uh in Aaron Boone. So and also he's been liked by Aaron Judge. So we'll see how the rest of the season goes for Anthony Volpe. I think he's very good, and especially since he won a Gold Glove in his rookie year, can he continue that? We need to see a lot more out of him, especially on the field. It was not very good. We'll see how the Yankee season goes, especially since it's very, very stacked coming towards the 2026 season.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pull this up here before we head on out. Baseball. I'm on DraftKings right now. Divisions. Here we go. Currently on DraftKings, Yankees plus 170 to win the division. Blue Jays plus 250. Red Sox plus 310. Orioles plus 475. The Tampa Bay Rays at a plus 3,000. The Yankees to make the playoffs minus 380. Blue Jays minus 230. Red Sox minus 195. Let's see. To win the AL, Yankees plus 400. Mariners plus 500. Blue Jays plus 600. Red Sox plus 700. So pretty tight there. And again, we'll be going throughout spring training, opening day, first pitch, all the way through All-Star break, and we'll loop you back around, obviously, for football and the playoffs. Scroller, been going the whole time, Matthew. Go follow Matthew on X at MG28_sports. You can catch him on Sports Grid. You can catch him on Sirius XM, but we always end this segment where you can tell him, Matthew, where to find your podcast with Coach, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, as Jeff mentioned, on Sports Grid, if you look at there throughout the week, Coach James Young and I Coach James Young, I produce his podcast of Pro Basketball Today and College Basketball Today. We record Pro Basketball Today on Monday, that we get released the next day on Tuesday. And then the same thing goes with College Basketball Today, that gets recorded on Wednesday and gets released on Friday. So be sure to tune in on Sports Grid on live, and also wherever you get your podcasts, like Spotify, Apple Music, and all that kind of stuff. So as well, throughout the entire week, catch him also on Saturdays as well with Kevin Walsh on College Basketball Today on Saturdays. They're going to be doing that every single morning until the NCAA tournament starts, and then we'll be ramping it up as well because the tournament is right around the corner. Conference tournaments are about to start next week, and man, it's going to be a really fun time for college basketball because March is here, especially next week. So I mean, honestly, it's going to be a very fun time for both spring training coming up and the NCAA tournament, and the NBA finals is basically almost around the corner. We're already past the All-Star break, and now it's time for everything to ramp up towards the end of the season for each of them too.
Shout out to Richard Poplis. Great guests again today. Jeff, kudos. Richard, you can catch Matthew and myself here every Thursday around 10 a.m.-ish. Check our timeline there. And, of course, a shout out to Mr. Profit Margin as well. There was a day The NCAA Insiders normal Thursday 1 p.m. has been pushed to Friday 1 p.m. Wow. Brain is struggling right now. Matthew Grissom on his way to Vegas, so he'll be live from Vegas. Q Mills will be back with us as well. We'll be talking week number 3 already in college bases. Scotty Webb will be back around 9:30. We'll be talking some WBC, some MLB. I'll be on with Andrew McGinnis at Wager Talk around 10:30 tomorrow morning. Talk some NHL. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Mr. Matthew George at MG28_sports. We wish everyone a blessed day. Locals, stay warm. The sun's out. It's 41 degrees. Be careful of some big roof stuff sliding off because it's going to get a little warm here. So be careful and stay tuned.